Perhaps we could speak for a moment about the art of listening. In actuality, listening is an art. Our species, if you will, having been around so many thousands of years and having gotten lost many thousands of years ago in knowledge and thought and belief, we have been, is it inundated or inundated? Overwhelmed with knowledge. We are sinking ourselves in knowledge. Actually, if there's the greatest secret we could tell ourselves is to rid ourselves of the knowledge. Be the dumbest person that ever walked the planet. Then you would discover what intelligence is, because this is the dumbest planet we could ever be on. That's another whole subject. So the consideration about the art of listening is this. Actual listening begins when you have no agreement with the speaker and you have no disagreement with the speaker. You have only the open-minded listening to hear what they have to say. That means to say that you need perhaps to discover that the art of listening is when you can listen outside of your already trained and conditioned robotic self. We have been training and conditioning ourselves for years, thousands of years collectively and individually, however long you've been on this planet. We've been training ourselves to be trained and conditioned. We are the imprisoners and the imprisoned. We're the ones who threw ourselves in prison, and we're looking around to find out who did it. Of course, we blame them. So, actually, this conversation was spurred or sparked by a comment from Carmen about having a problem listening. So if you can consider the most important time to listen is when you don't agree with someone. The next important time to listen is when you do agree with someone. You see, because then you'll know you're not listening. You're already trained and conditioned. Listening happens when you have an open mind. An open mind is when you hold no belief, when you have no preconceived notion, when you don't know anything. You are willing to explore everything, to discover for yourself, if you will, truth. Because the truth lives outside of your opinion, outside of your belief. Belief only makes a lie out of what may or may not be a truth. When you believe a truth, it becomes a lie. I throw that in as a test to see if you're listening. Now, if you were saying, oh, no, that's no, oh, this guy's crazy, and then you're not listening. I mean, in that case, you might as well just click off and do something else, who knows what. Actually, if you care to discover who and what it is that you are, then the art of listening is of immense importance, because under all of your years of training and conditioning is the you that you were when you were born. Before the training and conditioning started. In actuality, it was started by your parents. They introduced you to the world of pure violence that they accepted. And then somewhere before you were 4 years of age, you accepted this world of violence. And then you either worked for or against war. You either raped or you didn't rape women. You either went to church or you didn't. All of those things are part of the trained and conditioned collective world. I'm testing here at a high level your ability to listen, because most of what I've been speaking about for 40 years and here on Facebook ever since just about it was invented, and with these videos, 50 or 60 of them, by the way, they're all on, not all of them, but the greater preponderance of them are on YouTube, besides here on Facebook. So what it is I have been saying is new, not having been before. In order to hear, listen with, notice I said listen with rather than listen to. Listen to has a point to it. Listen with means to encompass or all encompass the words and where the words are pointing towards. Because if you can consider this possibility, words are not the thing. Words are a pointer. They point. If you go to where the word points, you'll discover a whole different thing there, because that is the actual. However, as I've said earlier, we collectively, and now individually, we take it on for ourselves, have been so trained and so conditioned that for the most part we move collectively as sheep, depending on our own belief and how many people we can gather around our own belief. If you've been noticing what's happening in America, you'll notice that, 71 million people gathered around the KKK, the white supremacists, the evangelicals, and the American Nazis, and voted for one person. And then, 75 million or 76 million gathered around a person who said he cared to unite America, make us all one, rather than them Democrats or those people, everybody, to see if the fighting and arguing and those things can be brought to an end. Now, in essence, both sides are the same. They're the same. They're different. They're opposite sides of the same function of violence. The manner in which the American government was put together is a violent manner. It is violent to begin with, so no thing that it does can fix the violence that it is, because any correction to an already failed entity will only cause a greater failure. It'll make it look better along the way, but then it eventually collapses. If there's anything we need in America, it's an entirely new form of government. However, that's again something almost impossible because everybody's arguing about one side or the other about where we are now. By the way, I'm still testing your listening. I tested the Democrat and tested the Republican. The dumbest thing, I'm still testing here. The dumbest thing we can do with ourselves is to call ourselves a Democrat or a Republican. There's no difference there. What's that Indian chief that said the right wing and the left wing are both needed for the bird to fly? So, if you're listening, then you might consider no longer calling yourself a Republican or a Democrat. And if you listen deeply, if you're listening so that it's opening your mind, you might consider not calling yourself a man or a woman, not labeling yourself a mother or a father or a brother or a sister or a cousin, all of those things. If you consider that, I have some news for you. What will happen is you will free your mind because you'll no longer be holding it down with all these labels. Every label you attach to yourself is like a hot air balloon trying to take off with thousands of attachments. Attachments being mom, dad, brother, sister, male, man, woman. Testing your ability to listen, huh? Maybe too far. So it's 11 minutes and 57 seconds. A perfect life to each of you. And if you're listening, you might say, I accept that perfect life. And from there, you will create creation and wars, killings, maimings, murders. They'll all disappear.